Hello, and thank you for joining us for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast about PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. I am one of those. My name is Michelle Kane. My company is Voice Matters, and I am here as always with my wonderful co-host, Karen Swim, such a talented PR pro who is also the head honcho over at Solo PR Pro, which is the group that pulls us all together, pulls us out of our home offices and co-working spaces, and I don't know, brings the world's best staff meeting together. Karen, how are you?
I love that. I am doing very well, and I'm so thankful for that in these crazy times. I do not take these good days for granted.
Correct.
I, believe that I never did, but I would not be honest if that hasn't always been true. So today is a good day in spite of storms and humidity and all kinds of crazy weather.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Yeah. Right now, the day we're recording this, Tropical Storm Faye is gracing the East Coast. So my sinuses are grateful to her for a reminder that they exist. So
yeah. But I am particularly grateful that her name is not Karen.
Oh, right? How true is that? To all the Karens of the world, we love you. I don't know how that poor name got picked on.
Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to the good Beckys too.
Yeah, exactly.
Becky, love you. We really do.
Poor Beckys and Karens. It's unfortunate. So no, we don't hold any of that against you. But yeah, just speaking of, taking each day, and you're right. A day that's a good day, even if it's gloomy, it's, we're upright and we're able to, do the work that we love and be helpful to people. That's a good day. And, yeah. And each day, every day has always been different, but it's never been truer. So that kind of leads us to our topic today of, how can we help our clients navigate what I will give full credit to Karen for this. I love it. How can we help our clients navigate the now normal? Because both of us refuse to believe that this is any kind of a new normal. This will pass. It may take a year, but it will pass. So, as we do, and things change day to day, as far as how clients respond to things, how, they communicate both with their prime audiences and the outside world. How can we as communications professionals help guide them through these times? I just picture ourselves with, little candles lit in the darkness, trying to guide them through.
I think that's how all of us feel. And, the reason that now normal so resonates with me is because on top of the global pandemic, this has been a year where daily sometimes there are new issues that really impact the environment in which we work.
Yes.
So you really have to be aware of those issues. I mean, think of when we started this year, we were not thinking through the lens of racial justice.
Correct.
And that's really changed a lot of things. It's changed some of the phrases that we've used. It's changed AP style standards. It's changed some of the references that we may have made. So that's really had a deep impact on the operating side of business, whereas the coronavirus has as well, because it has physically forced us into a different way of living. But the racial justice issues, in some ways, I believe, and those changes are not bad, but they are different.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, daily, we have these things that are shifting and changing. We have economic factors that are, driving how our clients operate. Not to mention in the United States, we have a little election coming up in a few months. And so, every day is filled with something that it feels like we must address and we must learn to navigate, and then there's, the whole issue of, reaching our audiences, and their time and attention is being diverted in so many different ways. We're living at our workplaces now because it honestly isn't working from home. It's not the work from home that you and I are familiar with. This is
Correct.
living at your office for everyone, along with the rest of your family and anyone else who inhabits your space, by the way.
Right.
So yeah, that change also means that there is a lot more demand for your audience's attention and that their environments have all been upended as well. And so, yeah, there's a lot to navigate, even as we personally navigate all of those very same issues.
Right. Right. So, if you find yourself a little, extra tired these days, there's a completely valid reason. And, add to that the anxieties of, looking ahead to what does a school year look like if you're a working parent, and how is that shaking out, and adding in, seeing some of these workplaces saying that, oh, you're not allowed to parent while you work, which is a whole other episode, that ridiculousness. It's a lot. I feel like every day when I, come to my computer to work, and I feel like I have to do almost, a pre-launch checklist, right? Of, okay, what's the status of the world today? Okay,
Yeah.
what messaging do I have to be concerned with today? Who's saying what? And, just kind of do a daily check-in, which is not a bad thing. Just to make sure that we're being as clear as possible, as truthful as possible, and, doing the right thing all the time. And it's, and that's really coupled with, as you say, with the racial justice issues. I'm so glad. I'm not glad for all the pain that has, borne this specific time, but thank goodness. Can we please deal with these long overdue issues, and do it well? So it's been so heartening to see a lot of, corporations stepping up to the plate, and, time will tell whether that is beyond lip service. But I
Yes.
think it's coming at a time when, social media has empowered the consumer in a certain way as well, that, we can help keep them and each other accountable. So, in the midst of all that is our client work, whether
Yeah.
you're B2B or B2C, having to be cognizant of all of that may require that you re-examine your messaging or your next campaign. It may require that you maybe even start over, or maybe you just have to finely attune, or, maybe for a specific thing that you're doing, perhaps it doesn't really have any impact. But just to know that, and be mindful of that, and
Yeah.
see where or how you might need to adapt. And, with that, I hate to say the word convincing, but, making sure that your client is on board with, yes, this is why we must go any particular way.
I agree. I mean, I think there's a lot of education right now. I also think that we have to have more fluidity. So as, PR professionals, we're used to building out these quarterly plans. And I think that you can still do that, but I think that you have to do it through a lens that everything can change. And so I think that if I were building out a plan, I would make sure that there was flexibility in it to, adjust as, the times might dictate. And I'd be looking at it from a different perspective. I would be asking different what if questions on top of the ones that we normally ask ourselves about. What if we have a second wave of this virus? What if something else that I can't even foresee happen to fundamentally, change our life? Because that's not off the table.
Right.
What if the economy, gets worse? You have to think about how any particular changes might impact your audience and might make your campaign either tone deaf, irrelevant, or require a different type of timing or tactic. So it's definitely in some respects a lot more work on our part that has to be done. And I think that we really have to frame things very differently for our clients. And so I have really tried to help clients to focus in on here's where we are and letting go of the expectations that they've placed on themselves looking out at this entire year,
Right.
because things happen that were completely outside of our control. And if you continue to look backwards and think about what you've lost, then the rest of the year is going to continue to look bleak, and you miss an opportunity to think, okay, here's where we are. Where can we go? So you really have to hold your clients' hands, provide counsel on how they can be forward looking from this point, and look at the wins of this time period as wins rather than comparing them to what happened the same time last year or what happened in January or February.
That's so true. I mean, there's no way that you can compare progress on a year to year basis because this year has been like none other. I think still being in business is a win. Still making any kind of progress is a win. This year is about survival with an eye on thriving. And just taking each day, each week, even if, you do it on a monthly basis, that's probably a wise way to work it if you have that flexibility. And I know we've thrown this word around a lot because we've been living it. Pivot.
Yes, pivot.
That's
I
right.
cannot say enough about that. I still,
Yeah.
especially in the small business realm, it is heartbreaking to me. Now,
Mm,
here's the reality, because I don't want to be, this Pollyanna. The reality is that there are going to be some businesses that are not going to make it through this crisis.
right.
That is sobering, but it is truth. And we know that because if we look historically, we've seen how that happens. I have a client that has this beautiful analogy where he compares COVID-19 to a forest fire.
Mm,
And a forest fire is devastating. It is definitely a disaster. It burns away things, but it also improves the ground for cultivation.
hmm
And we see new things grow. And it does hurt, especially if those businesses are people that we've served or people that we support. But and this is not limited to small businesses. We're seeing some
Right.
large companies that are filing bankruptcy or shutting down locations. There will be some people that just are not going to make it to the other side of 2020.
Right.
But there are some that have an opportunity right now. And I honestly, I'm not even going to say some, I'll say all, to embrace the new reality, to begin to think in the future, to begin to think about their who rather than their what and their balance sheets, to think about who they serve and how you can create something that empowers and equips that who. Putting the focus there will allow you to get creative and innovative. And for some, you're right, Michelle, it may be a complete pivot, but I would rather pivot and survive this thing than to just completely lose absolutely everything that I've worked for. And
Exactly.
I mean, and I think that applies to PR pros too. If you have always done things a certain way and your work has dried up, don't be afraid to now get creative and think, okay, what can I change? How can I adapt? What will people need in a month, in 2 months, in 6 months, a year from now? And how can I serve those needs with the skill set that I have? And even if that means that you're pivoting away from traditional PR, that's okay because you want to keep your business.
Definitely. I mean, you have the skill set that brought you this far, and it's not specific to a certain niche, right?
True.
And I'm sure we've both seen it both on, national to local levels, how important it is to have a professional communicator on your team. Someone who can troubleshoot a message before it goes out, or can say, you might not want to speak to that just yet, even though
Mhm.
it feels a certain way. Let's just wait. You want to let's move smartly, not from emotion. It's just a myriad of ways that, especially as we've spoken about this before, battling the prosumerism, now that everyone's armed with a laptop and a Mac. Yes, we can all design, we can all write. Well, not yes. However, you don't know what subconsciously goes on when someone is processing your message that could make them decide yes or no when they're looking at you. So, sorry, prosumers, no.
I agree. I
Not
mean, I have clients that are sitting on the sidelines because I have seen this. I've
yeah,
seen,
me
brick
too.
and mortar locations that have been impacted by, reopening phases, and they haven't gotten to the phase where they reopen, literally just sitting on the sideline waiting for things to change. And as communicators, I think that we can help our clients not do that.
Correct.
Now, I get it. In travel and tourism, you may work with tourism offices, you may work with, restaurants that have not been able to reopen. And unless they change their business model, there's probably not a lot of things that you can do to effectively get them to continue a PR spin.
Right.
But for others, I think you have to educate them with data, with examples, with inspiration, because we're all of those things to our clients, on why now more than ever it's important to have someone like you on their team.
Hmm.
And even if that means that you get a little creative in other ways that you might serve them to justify that budget. We have communicators that are very skilled at SEO, and so they can, work on a different side of the house and still do PR, and now they're contributing value in multiple areas.
Hmm.
Maybe it means that you take on more content development if that's your skill set. I mean, we're not suggesting that you do something outside of your areas of expertise. But solo PR pros, we're Swiss Army knives. We have a lot of things going for us.
We sure are. I love that. But it is. It's
It
so true, because so much of
is
the work
very
dovetails. And some of us offer more services than not, but and some of us pull vendors onto the team, and it's not because we can't do a lot of the things. It's because we like to sleep too. So
true.
and I think that's where many of us have been able to say, hey, we know, especially now, you don't have in-house help, so consider expanding our role a little bit. You're not paying the overhead of personnel, and you're not worrying about filling someone's 40-hour week, but you're getting a seasoned professional with a solo who can
Yeah,
help you with some of those things. And so you can not have, so your progress doesn't have to stop entirely. And then your clients are still getting the benefit of our guidance, because let's face it, our just as our plates are fuller as business owners throughout this thing, so are our clients. They've got a lot more to consider too, especially those, who have offices and, 50 or so employees. You always have to be thinking, tenfold now. Um,
yeah,
so, so the more helpful you can become, the better. And, I think if the roles were reversed, I would certainly want a communications professional helping me guide the way, so that I know that I'm always presented in the best light, in the best way possible, as being, again, a helper to my business community. But yeah, I mean, speaking of pivoting, even on a simple level, one of my clients, we do this annual event in a park. Well, clearly that's not happening. And last year we just did a simple coloring contest to build our database. and you dangle a certain gift card from a certain chain and people are just on it, which still
I
amazes
love
me in 2020. So this year I thought, you know what, let's just put it out online and see what happens. So, same contest, but here, download it, send it back. Maybe you'll win something. It's kind of fun. So, that's a very small example, but there are always ways to refashion something. I've seen a local brick and mortar store, almost immediately they started offering personal shopping where they walked around, and FaceTimed with you. And they, especially as Mother's Day was approaching, it was perfect. There you had your own personal shopper. They would package it up, ship it for you. Boom, done. So there are a lot of ways to do business in this world, and I think we just didn't pursue them because we didn't have to.
Because we didn't have to, and we
Mm-hmm.
got comfortable.
Oh yeah,
And I know, even to some of the solo PR pros who have been hard hit out there, our goal and our hope is that we want every solo thriving and
yes,
working.
yes,
We like to work, right? We love being used. We love using our knowledge and our skill set. And so we don't want any of you to be sitting on the sidelines. And so, we look for these examples and we test stuff out in our own businesses so that we can just be a light of hope and remind you, sometimes we just need someone else to help us to relight that fire in the belly
yeah,
that caused us to start our own business in the first place. If you go back to, that burning desire and you went hard after it because you knew that this is what you wanted to do and you took that leap of faith away from traditional employment, or maybe, it was after traditional employment had ended and you were in a period of uncertainty, but it still took courage and belief in yourself. And sometimes events can, muddle that. And we forget how freaking awesome we are.
yeah.
And
How
so
resilient.
today that you are
Yeah.
strong and brave and resilient, and you just need to light that fire in your belly and not only adapt your clients to the now normal, but you got to get there first.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you know what? We are resourceful people. It's part of our everyday. Sometimes you have to get resourceful. So, you know what? Harness a little bit of that and turn it on your own business. And like Karen said, then that will give us what we need to lead our clients through the now normal.
Absolutely. Another example, I was thinking, this was so fun, and I hope somebody out here can use this. But friends of mine connected with a chef. So, chefs for, fine dining and even, casual dining, they may have capacity right now.
Right.
And especially when shelter in place orders were, still in place. So this chef got creative and started offering these experiences where you hired the chef for a date night or a special evening, and they gave you a menu, and then over Zoom they taught you how to cook the meal.
That's cool.
Isn't that so cool?
I
So,
love
so
that.
they recommended the meal and they put the whole menu together for you and, recommended wine pairings. And so you had your ingredient list. And then, as part of your, special event, your date night or whatever, my friends did it for a date night. They've been married for a number of years. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And it was so creative for the chef to offer this service over Zoom. So, there's all kinds of ways, as Michelle said, that we can go on in the midst of these turbulent times.
Definitely. Definitely. We can and we will, because we
Yes.
know that you are all so very talented. And we just love that you take the time to listen to us. So we hope we're helpful to you too.
Yes. Thank you.
So yeah, we thank you for your time, and please, please, please visit Solo PR Pro and let us know how you are navigating your clients through this now normal, or how you're navigating your own business through the now normal, because we we can only inspire each other, which is a fantastic thing. But we hope you found value in this time together today. And if you have, please share our podcast and subscribe and all that good stuff. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.